What up, everybody? Welcome to Music Blueprint. If you are a music teacher and you are trying to make money, this is the video for you. A lot of times as independent artists, we are more than just artists or songwriters. We are also music teachers because the way it works when you are independent is that you have multiple avenues of revenue. That means that you are not getting your income typically from one source. You have multiple kind of jobs that help you create your overall income. And usually one of those things is music teaching. Whether you're giving vocal lessons or guitar lessons or maybe just teaching how to produce. There's a bunch of different things that you can teach, but a lot of music teachers don't really know how to make money, especially if they live in a small town or small community. They think that you have to live in some big music city like Nashville, LA, New York, or maybe you're somewhere globally. You don't have to do that. You definitely can make money where you are. You just have to be smart about it. So I'm going to give you 4 points on how to help you make money if you are a music teacher. First and foremost, get business cards and start handing them out and putting them everywhere. The beauty about being a music teacher is that you don't have to be in a big music city. Everyone wants lessons to something, okay? So you just have to get your name out no matter where you are. If you live in a small town, go to your closest post office. Everybody has to go to the post office. They usually have some board with some, you could put a little tack on it and put your business card there. Or maybe you have a flyer that you can set up and just print out and put your number on. Whatever it is, put it everywhere that you can think of that you think maybe there will be people here that will want lessons. Just put it in the everyday places because there are a ton of people that want music lessons, but they don't always know how to find people. And when you're in a small town, it's usually word of mouth, and it's usually what they see first. And a lot of those people aren't like seeing the internet first or seeing your Instagram post first. They're probably seeing something that they do every day, which is, going to the post office or going to the grocery store or going to a gas station. Those are the simple, the typical things. Although I don't know if I would do a gas station because there's a lot of people at the gas station, but you know what I'm trying to say. Get your name out and start handing out business cards as much as you can wherever you are. Be like, hey, I don't know if you're interested in this, but I'm a music teacher. I'm trying to build my business. And if you know anybody that's interested in music lessons, please, here's my card. Just start talking to people and asking around. I know it's difficult for some of you introverts. I know it'd be hard to kind of put yourself out there, but trust, that's the way to do it. And try to take a step and be a little bit extroverted and get your name out there. So the second thing is get an online music profile. So the beauty about online stuff is that you don't have to do the hustle and the grind of face-to-face because you already have a built-on online profile. So there's a lot of online, well, actually there's not as many online music teaching stuff as there are for songwriters. Songwriters have a lot more access to social media platforms that create the opportunity for people to hire songwriters, like for instance SoundBetter or things like that. But for music teachers, there's not that many. I actually did a pretty decent research on it and I couldn't find a ton. The one that is the most popular is takelessons.com. Okay, again, takelessons.com. That's the one that keeps popping up the most regularly, which seems to me that's the most established one, which means they usually have all the kinks worked out. A lot of times with, I know from experience, the songwriter websites that people use to, get hired for songwriting, there's a few that are really excellent, and then the rest are kind of like have a lot of bugs to work out and stuff. So I'm assuming that takelessons.com is the most established one because that's the one I saw the most. And when I went onto their profile, it seemed very user-friendly. So I would definitely check that out. The second one I found was orpheusacademy.com, and they seemed a little bit more in the medium scale. They had things figured out, but you do have to, if you want to be a teacher online, you have to try out to be there. So it's not just like you sign up, create a profile, and then people see your profile and what you've done, and or maybe an example of how you play, and then they can hire you. You actually have to try out, and then when you try out, they create a teacher profile for you, and then that gives you the opportunity to work with students and stuff. So, and then the last one that I found, which technically isn't a music teacher platform, it's just a platform for anybody that has a skill that's wanting to be taught, is Fiverr. So you just go to Fiverr, create a profile, and there are a lot of people on Fiverr, and there are a lot of people that do music teaching on Fiverr. So you have to definitely be willing to be in it for the long haul. You know, you're not just going to get a ton right away. Possibly you could be. I mean, if you're like Stevie Mackey, who's like J-Lo's vocal coach, yeah, you might get stuff right away because you already have a pretty well-established name on social media. But that if you're kind of like a no-name person, that might not be the case, and it'll take you a while to build that profile up. But what I try to do is I try to put my stuff out on all those profiles, and then if I get one a month or one every other month on each profile, well, then that kind of adds up to being like, oh, I just got paid like $100 here, and now I have a consistent $100 a month. Or I'm on 5 of these profiles, and I got a lesson from one of each profile this month, which would be like, you know, $250 to $500. So I try to put, what's worked for me is I have cast my net out to as many places as I can. And then after casting my net out, I get back at least 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, and then I slowly build it up that way to where then I'm getting 2, 3, 4 a month from one platform, and then only 1 on this platform, and I kind of build it up that way. Hopefully that makes sense. The other way is just work your social media. And if you're gonna be a music teacher, like that's solely what you want to do, then you need to make your social media branded in that way. If you're like, look, I don't like the whole performing thing. I'm a songwriter, but like I'm not like big into it, or I'm not trying to push it in that way. I'm only trying to be a music teacher because that's what I love. Great. Make your branding on your profile music teaching. And I would highly suggest doing this on TikTok. There are not a lot of people that teach on TikTok yet, at least from what I've seen. And I can only think of like 2 or 3 right now that do. And I know there's more because obviously there's like a ton of users, but there's a really popular niche and a really successful niche that's there if you just tap into it. So I would definitely do TikTok over Instagram and stuff, although Instagram is moving more towards videos and marketplace kind of things. TikTok is just a blank canvas at the moment, and it has a lot of opportunity for growth and quick growth. Like you only need one to pop off for you to like boom gain 20,000 to 200,000 followers in a short amount of time. So I would definitely do it that way, but make sure that your branding is clear. Don't be wishy-washy about your branding of what your page is, because people will come to your page for what you originally went viral for. And a lot of times people go viral and then they try to switch it up, and then all those followers leave because they're like, I came here to learn about guitar, and now this guy's telling me about his life story. Like stick to a message and stick to it, okay? 3, contact schools. Music teaching is fading within education, but so many schools are looking for teachers. They're looking for them. Get on, I don't know what it's called in every state or every country, but in California we have what's called EdJoin, which is an education website that reveals all the jobs that are available in California, and there are so many music teaching jobs. I mean, so many. And I would get involved in that because, one, a lot of times with music teaching jobs, there are a lot of students that want extra lessons after school, which again, you're building your music teaching thing, but also it's just a way for you to start interacting with more schools, because the more schools you interact with, the more opportunity you have to teach more kids or people or whatever. I mean, you might find when you work at the school that there's other teachers that want to take music lessons that they never got to do or whatever. Like you never know. And it's really important to be involved. And even if the school in your area is like not interested in having a music teacher, maybe ask if they'd be interested in like an after school situation where they possibly just pay you like $200 like once a week or every other week to have a class that kids can be a part of, because a lot of schools are looking for after school stuff because parents work late or whatever. And what a positive impact you could be by just having a music option for kids. A lot of kids love music. They love being a part of it. Kids are like sponges. They really need that positive influence, and a positive influence in music. There's a lot of negative influence in music, and how great would it be for you to be like a positive influence in music? And all you have to do is like host an after school program. And imagine too, like there's a lot of schools, depending on where you live, there's possibly a lot of schools in your area. So you could do like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but each one of those schools is a different school, and maybe each one of those schools pays you for an after school thing. They just pay you like $200 or $500 or whatever they can afford, or whatever. Or maybe you just do it for free for the opportunity of, oh, some of these kids are probably going to ask for lessons because I've done this once a month or every other week or whatever. It's all about, again, you have to think in the long term, investing. And when you invest your time, the return of investment is going to come either then or at a later time because you've invested all of that effort, and something will come of fruition. It always does. One thing I've learned from the music industry is that whenever I've invested time, even when I thought, man, that was a waste of my time, it always comes back in some way, every single time. So anyways, the fourth and last one is get involved in a church. And I know some people who are like, maybe don't believe in church or whatever, are like, probably like, okay, I'm going to turn this podcast off. But listen, just hold on for a second. I literally have dozens of friends that they have so many clients from their church that it's already a full-time job with just the amount of students they have per week from their church. I'm telling you, I'm not lying. Hand to God, hand on the Bible. I have so many friends that have built a total part-time, full-time music teaching career just from their church. It's crazy. Think about how many musicians grew up in the church and learned music from the church. That can't be a coincidence. It's not a coinkydink. There's a reason why that happens, and it's because there's always that person in church that is willing to give music lessons and always has that. And there's all these kids that are like, oh, I want to learn how to play piano. I want to learn how to play guitar, drums, sing, whatever. And then there's that person in the church that's like, oh, I sing. I can teach you how to do this. Or, oh, yeah, I'm trained, actually. I can teach you. Or here's guitar or whatever. And they have this, and then they get paid doing it. Sorry, there's a hair in my face, and it's bugging me. But it's definitely a full career option. And again, going back to like having multiple avenues of revenue, you're not probably going to have students from one area. I mean, you might. It's more probable in the music teaching space for that to happen because you can get involved with different companies and you can get involved with a school, or you can, whatever, or at a church or whatever. But you're trying to build a clientele that's kind of spaced out. And the reason that is when it's more spaced out, if you lose a client, you're not losing like all of them. Like for instance, if you lose your music teaching job at a school, that's everything. That's your whole income. Rather than if you have like 10 students from church, 10 students from a school, 10 random students from your business cards that were passed out, and collectively you do 30 students a week, that's a really solid income. That would make you, honestly, 30 students a week would make you bank. But most of the time, when you have 30 students, that people do like every other week. But nonetheless, that would make you bank big time. Even if you just charge like $50 a lesson, solid. Anyways, if you charge $100 a lesson, it was like an hour lesson long. That's like $6,000 a month. What? That's great money. That's really great money. So anyways, definitely think about that. Those are the 4 points. If you have any questions, please ask them in the comments below. And if you're like, man, this was a great video and it had a lot of great insight, a lot of my other music teacher friends need help with this, please share the video or at least like it so it gets up in that algorithm. I would so much appreciate it. And I hope you guys have a great week. See you next week. Peace.